How we doing, friends? Welcome back as always to Continues to Tick. And this week is Thanksgiving. And a couple weeks from now it'll be Christmas. And then another week or two after that it's the new year. And 2024 is right around the corner, friends. And isn't that crazy? I mean, I'll be 29 in the year 2024. My last final year before I hit my 30s. And then we'll see how life changes for me when I hit my 30s. But, think about it for yourself. This time doesn't stop. And that's the whole premise, the whole point of this channel, is that time continues to tick. I come from it with the vantage point of looking at it as building wealth over time, trying to leverage this time that happens regardless, and using it, utilizing it, pushing it, directing it, just this energy, this momentum of time into finances, and trying to build wealth over time. I don't ever want to find myself in my late 50s, 60s, just later on in life and think to myself, I should have planned financially. I'm planning today, friends. I started planning 3-4 years ago when I entered the workforce. I started thinking about it and then I sprung into action. I kind of told myself this is urgent. I fooled myself into thinking that even though I have the time. I'm young, but over time it'll show. On this channel here, we're building up this dividend portfolio. I've been continuing to kind of show you just my progress, and I've pushed out a lot of videos. We've hit a couple milestones, and life has continued to change for me. Has continued to change. And the other thing, besides time passing being a constant in our life, is that time will pass and we will have to adjust and pivot. We will have to adjust and pivot. If not, we get left behind. Hopefully this channel will serve as just a reminder, friends, that time passes, and because of it, things will change. You will get older, life will happen, but I'll be here with you. We'll continue to hopefully build our own personal financial journey, financial nest egg over time, and then one day when that time has passed, look back, thank our younger selves for doing this. That's the whole goal of this channel, friends. And I felt like that was important to say, at least for this video, because this is now part 3 of the deep dive of my dividend investing, strategy, reevaluation, if you will. Part 3. This is going to be the video where I tell you my new strategy moving forward, at least for the next year. And then, when the year passes, we'll do it again. But at least for now, friends, I had to kind of dive deep and see what my next course of action will be. And I think it's important. So hopefully through this, friends, me walking you through my own way of doing this, hopefully it can inspire you, to do the same. Because as this time passes, it's a long journey. You can't expect to just pick a strategy and then stick to it all the way through to the end. And by strategy, I mean, your funnel, your rate, your pace. You're going to have to kind of balance this whole thing out with your life as it changes, right? As you get older, as life tends to happen. Maybe you have kids, you get married or have a partner. Maybe you have parents that get sick. Maybe you try to spend some more money to go make memories and go on vacation. These are the things that are going to happen, right? Losing a job, getting a better job, getting a house. Like, these are all things that are going to happen, friends. This is life. So hopefully me showing you how I do it will inspire you to do the same. But before I get to that section of this video, friends, part 3, I'm going to do it a little bit differently today. I'm going to give you guys the treat first. I'm going to give you the carrot. I know oftentimes when people watch my videos, they look for the dividend portfolio review. So I was like, might as well, let's start here. We'll start here and then eventually we'll get to the end of the video where I'll actually break down my part 3, my actual strategy moving forward. And I broke that down as well. So we'll have fun with it. I'll share it with you. And then we'll also play with some numbers on a dividend calculator that I use. And it's really fun. So stick to the end if you want to see that part. If not, friends, let's get through this portfolio review. So as you saw in the markets this last week, I don't think I have to say too much. They were all really doing well. And at least my portfolio definitely showed. We're currently at $69,782.01. This is a total gain of $8,652 all time. This equates to a total return of 22.41%. And if we just zoom in here, friends, you can see for market gain and earned dividends, this is the part that matters. If you're a dividend investor, just take a look at this. This is an indicator of a very solid portfolio. And for me, friends, I did my homework when I started it. But even when you start, you don't know how it's going to play out over time. I mean, it's been 3 years plus now, and it looks like it's going along very well. And I'll explain. So as you can see, friends, market gain is $4,212. Earned dividends is $4,439. Market gain is up. Earned dividends practically matches that, if not surpasses my overall gain for the portfolio, if that makes sense. Seeing it this much in alignment is an indicator that you're doing something right. Take a look at your portfolio, see what the all-time looks like. Does the earned dividends match the market gain? And then just to zoom out a little bit here, friends. Of course, like I said, this is the all-time, but let me show you this past week. Because like I said, this past week, I think it did well for a lot of people, and I was not excluded from that group. My portfolio last week had a 2.71% overall return, which equated to a gain of $1,838. For market gain alone, it was $1,719. And then from earned dividends, just an 118. No, that is awesome. That is amazing. That makes me very happy. But I think a lot of this gain here, friends, can be, correlated to just the interest rates and everything that's going on with the Fed and things like that. The markets move very oddly. I think the whole point of how to survive this whole uncertainty is you just have to be in the game. By being in the game, by being invested, whether it's in the stock market, in real estate, whatever it is that you invest in, but those are, I think, the two most solid, foundations for the future, right? As long as you're playing in the game, you have a chance to make money. If you're not invested in either of those two, you're not in the game and you won't make money. It's that simple. So when the markets look red, they look like they're taking a downturn, don't let that discourage you. You're going to be in this for the long haul. You're going to be in this for decades, right? That's time passing. You will eventually, make your way through and see the result that you want to see. But I guess the point to me saying that is I didn't know this last week was going to go this well. It could have done poorly. At this point now, being 3-4 plus years in, I don't really feel this gain anymore. It doesn't really do anything psychologically to me, which is exactly where I want to be. And then now if we look at the month, friends, over the past month, it's 2.92%, which equates to a total gain of $1,974.43. And for the past month, it was about almost an $1,800 market gain, and earned dividends, it was slightly under $200. So, that's pretty neat. Let's continue to just kind of look at some of these tabs here. So year to date, there's a moment there where we were barely hovering, but we had a really good week last week, and now we're doing okay. And that's how the markets are just going to move. I mean, you could tell by the graph here. This year I also sold a chunk of my Nvidia. So I didn't know if I would hit 70K again, but we're almost there, which is nice to see. But over the year, right, the year to date, it's a 5.45% return, which equates to a total gain of $3,554. And if we want to look just over the past 365 days, we're about the same, 5.72% return. So I'll take it. But let's switch back to all time, friends. And before I continue to scroll down further, just know you can always take a look at this pie if it's something that you're curious about. There's always a link in my description box. You click on it and you can look at everything that I'm holding, on your own time. I know when I first started investing in dividends, I didn't know where to start. I'm a very visual person. I looked at other people's portfolios and I got ideas. And I didn't copy anybody's portfolio exactly, but I looked at people's portfolios just to kind of get ideas, right? I broke it down by sectors just like most people do, and I had to decide the percentages on my own. But it was nice to see other people's portfolios, get ideas, correlate it to the things that I think are most important to me, things that I prefer to invest in, right? So for me, I put real estate at 13%, followed by consumer staples, which I always think is like a steady, boring sector. And then, ETFs, index funds, tech, and everything goes smaller from there. But those are all decisions that you have to make. And then when you click on a sector, right, for example, these are also more decisions you got to make. Which holdings are you going to put in each sector, and then how many, and then which percentages. So it's not an easy task by any means. So it's nice to be able to see other people's portfolios. That way you can also just continue to get ideas for your own self. I just always want to say that. But kind of putting it to, let's see, best returns. So tech, right? This is all time. On the tech, it's 170% return. And like I said earlier, I sold a chunk of NVIDIA earlier in the year, and it is still continuing to just boom. So 534%, and it just continues to kill it. It's actually at a target of 42%. I set it at 28%. So, it's very unbalanced in this overall sector, but I'm just letting it ride. I see it as being part of a future piece, in society moving forward. So we'll see, what happens, friends. Apple's also high, and Oracle actually, surprisingly, I think the second best at 111%. So interesting, right? Sometimes it's hard to see what the future holds. But apart from tech, we have energy, it looks like, and then financials, consumer discretionary, and so on. But if we go down to the bottom, it looks like healthcare is our worst performer currently at 25.38%, followed by communications. So communications, I think for the longest time was actually my worst performer. Well, look at that, it's doing better now slightly. But looking at healthcare, everything's in the red. Medtronic, Pfizer, J&J. I'm a nurse. I always believe in healthcare, but healthcare as a sector, it's always an interesting one. It has its moments, but it's not a surprise that it's in the red. And then just to kind of show you, friends, I'm also going to break it down as far as my strategy moving forward. So at the very, very beginning of this portfolio, I used to invest $500 every single week. This was me newly into the workforce. I was excited to invest, friends. I wanted to start the snowball early, right, and roll it down the hill quick, right? So I was investing $500 every single week. Ever since then, I dropped it down to 100. I've been doing 100 every week for a while. And then more recently now, as part of the new strategy, which I'll tell you about here in a second, I'm now at 150. So I increased it incrementally. 150 is my new base, and we'll continue to move forward with that. But apart from showing you here the new deposit of 150, I've been doing it for a couple weeks now. These are all dividends, all these in the green right here. $15 from AT&T, $15 from Verizon, almost $5 from GD, and let's see, O paid me $8. Procter & Gamble paid me almost $9, and Apple $3. And we continue to move forward, friends. So this is overall the recap of my portfolio. I do these in a smaller sense, on my weekly videos. My monthly dividend portfolio reviews, I go deeper and I dive deeper into these, telling you a lot more. So if you want slightly more about this portfolio, always check out those videos. I pushed out one more recently of my October my October one. So take a look at that one if you're curious. But now, friends, this is the section of part 3 of the deep dive into my dividend portfolio. Like I said, this journey is long. You have to recalibrate every once in a while, because if you don't, there's going to be a disconnect, because your life will change, friends. As I was young and I first started this portfolio, I thought initially, I would just ride my whole strategy all the way through, but I was kind of really not thinking about everything that can happen in life. So there's a lot that happens, right? I'm sure a lot of people older than me, because I'm 28, a lot of people older than me will also relate to that, right? They've probably been through way more life-changing experiences in their life, right? That's only going to happen as you get older. So for me, I'm getting a taste now. I went from 24 to now 28. I'll be 29 next year. And I've gone through a couple of these life-changing events, and I just adjust and pivot. And I like to be mindful of how my portfolio is moving, so that way I bring it with me over time. As opposed to kind of getting this plant, right, which is your dividend portfolio, and then just forgetting to water it. You just neglect it over time, and you're like, why didn't this tree grow as big as I wanted it to? Well, you didn't really take care of it. So a big part of this dividend portfolio journey, friends, is you have to take care of it. You have to be able to bring it with you. And part of that is a requirement that you have to recalibrate your strategy as you move through this life. So this is just one deep dive example of it. We've gone through part 1 where I broke down my debts. We went through part 2 where I told you about my income and my goals. This is going to be part 3 where I actually tell you the strategy that I decided on moving forward, and I'll kind of break it down to you as to how I made that decision. So this is just a little recap for my debts. I just want to let you guys know, I'm already following through on the game plan. So I do have a CarMax debt, right? I do have a CarMax loan or debt of about $10,000. It's on a Toyota Camry, nothing fancy, right? But I started back in October at paying $865 a month as opposed to like $400. So I doubled that. So that's underway. And then, now that we're in November, unfortunately, we got to start paying school loans again. So I went from paying, like $100 to $200 to now trying to pay $1,000 a month. So I want to get rid of that. November was the first month I threw a big chunk at it, right? So now we're doing $1,016 a month. And then I also unfortunately have an IRS bill. There's a lot behind the story, but either way, friends, you can't escape the IRS. So I have this IRS, bill that I got to pay about $10,800. And before I was paying like $125, so I've only doubled it for now to $250 every single month. And I started updating those payments back in September. So my goal with that is to eventually increase it, right, to about $900 a month, get that thing out of here. But for now, I'm at $250 a month. So we're executing, right? We're executing slowly. This is how this whole process works. You come up with a plan and then you execute, right? So we're executing on these debts, right? So we're doing a good job so far. So in summary, my total debts are $2,131. Eventually the goal is to be around $2,700, right? With the updated IRS payment. This will be about $30,000 that I'm paying off in debt. So this is with the debts of $2,131 with my rent of $1,800. I'm also trying to throw just a little bit, keep it like a little drop in there, like you're watering a plant, right? A little drop a week of water, just to kind of keep it there so it doesn't, fully die on me. But I also invest into my 401k and 401(k), $100 for now, and then my bills, right? $1,500. This includes my insurance, my utilities, my food, and this is just my budget. It's not for me and the household, right? Because I have a partner that I live with. She also has her own, but this is just kind of mine and what I bring to the table. And as far as my dividend investing strategy, my funnel, it used to be $433 every month. Now I updated this to $650 a month. And this is because I moved it from $100 a week to $150 a week. And you can add them up, times 52 weeks in a year, divide by 12. That's how you get the number 650. And then, so this equals to a total monthly bill of $6,181. With IRS increase, it'll be around $6,700. But currently, at this time, my take-home check is about $6,500. So I can afford my total monthly bill, but as you can see, I can't fully quite afford the pace that I want to go in to pay off also my IRS bill, if that makes sense. Unless, I kind of clean up stuff and, whatnot, right? So here it is, friends. Here it is. This is my strategy. We're in November 2023. This is my strategy moving forward. My plan is to reevaluate next November in 2024 and see how it is that I'm doing. But overall, friends, my actual goal that I decided on, my strategy, is to pay off all my debt aggressively. I want to give myself a timeline of 1 year, and in 1 year I'll be the age of 29. And with this, I want to increase my dividend funnel to $150 a week, which I also mentioned that that's underway, so that's good. I want to continue to invest in my 403b or 401k as allowed, or pension if still possible. So I want to aim for at least $100 a month into my 403b or 401k, which I'm already doing, so that's underway and that's good. And I did put pension here because there's a story behind it, and that leads to this final bullet point. So currently, I'm in a little, midlife crisis, right, in quotes. I'm deciding if I want to continue to work for the state. There's a couple things, in the background. I'm not going to get into the meat of it, but just, in terms of what would happen is I either stay with the state and I keep a pension, right? Or I leave the state and I go into the private sector. This is some type of conflict that I'm going through just in my own personal life. It won't affect my income necessarily. My goal is to still make the same, if not slightly more, right? It does affect my strategy moving forward, right? So pension is something that you rely on. If I stay with the state for 25 years plus, I'll end up with a pension. If I don't stay with the state, up to me. And I don't mind it being up to me. As you can see, I like thinking about my finances, thinking about the future. I think I'll be okay. I just have to, maybe in a year from now, recalibrate how it is that I continue to move, right? So that's why for me, there's no lost cause. My strategy is to pay off all my debt because the economy is also booming. Everything's really expensive. I can't really buy anything if I wanted to right now, So I think it's the best time to really just pay off debt aggressively. That way in a year from now, we'll reevaluate and I could see how it is I want to move with a clean slate. From that point, I'll decide how I want to invest my money as I'll increase my funnel, right? My ability to invest each month will increase at that point. So I'll keep you guys updated on this journey of what my, in quotes, midlife crisis turns out to be. If I stay with the state or I don't stay with the state, because that will change this overall trajectory of this journey. So we'll see, friends. It'll be interesting. But I'll take you guys along for that ride. We'll figure it out, right? It'll be interesting though. Maybe it'll give a good story, right, to this whole thing. So friends, I asked myself, why this strategy, right? So this will allow my monthly investing ability to open up, like I was kind of alluding to. It'll be approximately $3,000 a month that will open up for me each month once I pay the debts off. And this is assuming I don't get a pay raise, right? Now, if I get a pay raise and things like that, this can increase even more. But the idea is to open up this investing ability. The other reason is I want to be debt free going into my 30s. That's like a goal that I really want to set in stone for myself, is I don't want to carry, this baggage that I picked up in my 20s and, carry it into my 30s. I really don't want to do that, because in my 20s, I've always seen it as building a solid foundation. Well, if I continue to just carry debt around, there's always a compromised base, right? To just me and my investing foundation. So I want to just cut that debt off and go into my 30s nice and clean, right? This also will allow the ability to save up quicker for real estate, right? Once I'm debt free. And then for me, the way I look at it is paying off my debt is step one. Step two is now my next step, right? For me, I'm thinking about aggressively beginning to invest in a real estate portfolio and also increase the dividend funnel. If I'm not getting the pension anymore, I might have to just really aggressively look at being a real estate investor, or aggressively look at investing into my dividend portfolio. So we'll see as time continues to go, but I got to get through step one first, which is paying off my debt. Step two will be fun when the time comes in about a year from now. And I'll be looking forward to that video with you guys so I can break this whole thing down once again. And I just want to show you guys, friends, how it is that I play with the numbers. This was a copy and paste here, so I'll delete this. But I just want to show you guys. And then from there, we'll wrap up the video. But we'll have some fun here, friends. Let me show you some numbers. So I'm not sponsored by this app at all, but it's just one that I've used and I've always continued to use ever since I found it. It's known as a HUDiv Calc, like HUGH, Dividend Calc, like CALC. If you just type that into Google, you will get like a first click link on the top, and then it'll bring you to this. And this is actually a really fun little neat calculator. So as you can see here, friends, you saw my portfolio. I put $69,000 start point. I put a monthly contribution of $650. I put an 8% annual return, which is, decent. And I put 23 years because I'm 28. In 23 full years, I'll be the age of 50, right? That's when I really want to retire by. And then I put my current yield at 3.0. And I put a dividend growth rate of about 5%, which is pretty normal. And then I ran the calculator. And as you can see, friends, over time, it tells you what the end balance will be. It tells you with your dividends being invested in, right? Because we're dripping them. It'll tell you what your growth is. If you invest $650 every month, that's $7,800 a year. And, over time, it just tells you, right? It's really fun to just kind of see at what age, you can expect to hit $500,000, for example. But I just want to play around and kind of show you the worst case scenario, just to kind of also give you some motivation, right? This is just the worst case scenario. Now, if we want to kind of play around a little bit, eventually I want to increase this. I mean, not to 2,000 maybe on average, because I would have missed out a little bit, but maybe 1,800, right? Let's say I want to retire at 52 or so. Let's say the stock market actually give us a 9% return on average, right? Let's say our dividend yield is 3.1 or something, right? Like this is just fun, right? Just to play. So noticeably, a $3 million dividend portfolio at the age of like 52 to 53. And now a payout of $36,000, which is still pretty good, right? Let's say on average, this is now 3.2. Now it goes up to 38. Now let's say we continue to invest past the age of 52 or 53. Let's say we retired at 55. Or no, not 25, let's put 26. And, we continue to play around, and there we go. It hit 40,000 dividend payouts for the year with the portfolio of 3,679,000. So that's really awesome to see. So friends, play around with this calculator. You'll have fun with it. I definitely recommend it. You just get some couple ads here. Just, exit these out. We don't need those. But play with the calculator. It's fun. It gives you motivation. It helps inspire me, for example. This journey is long, friends. You got to find little pockets of stuff. I'll continue to be here with you. We'll walk through this whole thing together. We've been here for a while, friends. I see other people continue to join the journey. I see people continue to watch the videos, and that does make me happy to see. But as always, friends, I'll be here in about 2 weeks. You have a good Thanksgiving. I hope, you eat a lot of food and you enjoy it. Watch your macros afterwards. Take that day as a cheat day. That's what I'll be doing. See you then, friends.